used to hitting the right button on these in a minute. Thank you, Mayor. I haven't come with a pre-prepared speech. I didn't know that was what we were doing in these sessions. I regret the attempts to politicise this debate today. I believe that those attempts to politicise this day absolutely minimises the incredibly thorough piece of work that has gone on here. And to accuse, in effect, officers of being driven by a political agenda when I know that they have worked incredibly hard to produce something that is best for our region is just very disappointing. I think it's also worth pointing out and reminding us aboard the amount of engagement that has taken place here. Every single council has had a significant impact on this. I know from my own experience at Cambridge City, the number of times that the Cambridge City appendix has come to us. I know that will be the case with all the appendices right across the region. I'm keeping a tally of the number of times this has come to formal and semi-formal meetings. I believe we are now at 4 board meetings, 7 Transport and Infrastructure Committee meetings, and 10 leaders' strategy meetings. To suggest that there has not been consultation and engagement on this is laughable, to be honest. I think the other thing we do have to remember is we are going through currently a improvement process. One of the things that has been mentioned at that improvement process is the fact that we, as a board, need to take responsibility that we are the combined authority. As constituent councils, we sit on this board. If there are key transport decisions that need taking in the future, they will come through this board. The combined authority is not another thing that happens outside of this board meeting. We are the combined authority. And I say that because I think that should give us real, a sense that we don't have to worry that there's something in a document that might mean that the combined authority makes a decision without us, because we are that authority. Now, to reassure Councillor Bowden, we have a paper coming up later, setting in train the specific due diligence around buses that he is asking for. Clearly, we wish to be financially prudent in all that we do. And there is no way, I'm sure, that any of us would want to embark down the stages of bus reform without being sure that we're doing due diligence at every stage, and that's exactly what the paper that has gone to TIC recently is designed to do, and I do hope that board members will be able to support that later. Mayor, I wonder if it might be helpful, because we had a very concerned question from a local resident at the Transport and Infrastructure Committee around whether we were planning to impose congestion charging on Peterborough. And I gave an answer there. I wonder, given that that issue has been raised again, whether it might be helpful to kind of give that answer again. Okay. So what I emphasised there, and I will seek to summarise rather than read out the entire thing, is that the decision lies on a congestion charge with the relevant constituent council. In that case, in terms of the question that was asked at TIC, Peterborough City Council, it is up to the constituent council to decide whether or not to introduce a congestion charge. Now, I emphasised in that answer that this draft local transport and connectivity plan that is before us today sets out a range of possible measures that could be taken across our region. They are simply an attempt to outline a menu which is neither compulsory nor exhaustive. And many of those measures would require by law the express buy-in of the relevant local highways authorities. In the case of charging, that relevant highways authority is Peterborough City Council or Cambridgeshire County Council. The combined authority has no plan to ask Peterborough to consider charging. The decision as whether to accept that request, even if it were made, would of course lie squarely with Peterborough, and the same is obviously true with the County Council as well. And Peterborough voting, or any other council voting to allow the LTCP to pass, would not change any of that, because all it does is set out a basket of possible measures authorities may choose to use. It does not in any way override the powers of those local authorities, and I'm sure Edwina would be the first person to jump in and tell us we couldn't do that if we sought to try. I think it's important to emphasise, because this may not be clear for everybody listening in, that mayoral powers differ around the country. In London, the Mayor has greater power on highways issues. That is not the case here. Any comparison that therefore people may choose to make with London is actually not a helpful one in this situation because the powers are different. Now, the GCP board was mentioned. I think it is important to address that. I addressed that in my answer on Wednesday last week as well. The Combined Authority Mayor does not have a voting position on the GCP board. The Combined Authority Mayor has been clear all along that the decision of Cambridgeshire, Cambridge City and South Cambs as part of that board as to whether, as a joint committee of councils, they recommend that the county council pursue a charge in Greater Cambridgeshire is their decision as a joint committee. It is not the decision of the Combined Authority Board or the Combined Authority Mayor. I'm sure all of us in this room respect whatever decision the GCP board will come to because it is their decision. So to repeat, it is for the County Council, Cambridgeshire County Council or Peterborough City Council to decide whether charges are introduced, and nothing in this document overrides that. Thank you, Mayor. I hope that was a helpful intervention.